Hi folks, hope you're having a good day where you are. We're going to talk about a rhythm today, a rhythmic figure, the dotted 8/16. And as many great trumpet players, cornet players over the years, like Edwin Franco Goldman and Herbert Clark and Arban and many others, and noticed that this rhythm gives a lot of people trouble. So I'm going to try and help you with that today and see what we can get done. Now, for me, this rhythm is, if you played it in a marching band, for example, you want to make sure that your band director would tell you, play the rhythm, da, 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 da. And that's actually not a dotted 8/16. It's more like a double dotted 8/32. So these are the things I want you to be listening for. Can you tell that 1, 2, 3, da 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 da? That's da 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 da. That's a double dot. Now here's the cool thing. You could put that shorter note, you might call it, anywhere. So I could do it like a triplet. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, da 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 dee dee da dee da da da. Now it gets a little swingy. Da da dee da 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 dee da da da. That's not a dotted 8/16. So the place to start is, can you actually play a dotted 8/16? And that seems rather strict, and people struggle with it. But all it is a matter of feeling the big beats and the small beats inside the big beats, subdivision. So if you have trouble with this, use your metronome, put it on the big beats, put your subdivision in so that you can hear it, and then try and synchronize with it. Now there are many ways to practice, and we'll get into that in other episodes, I assume, but we'll touch on some of this stuff today. I'm going to go ahead and play one of them. This is number 15 on page 24 in my edition of the Arban book. And it's a kind of a nice little tune, but it's all based on this rhythm. So if you think about it kind of in a march style, that can be helpful. So let's see, march tempo. A nice heavy march. Wow, it's good practice. This is the first playing I'm doing today, and it's a good warm-up. I'm noticing all kinds of things. In this rhythm, since it's so strict, and we're concentrating so much on timing accuracy and the quickness and the agility of the tongue and so many other things, your body can start to get a little bit stiff. Da-da, 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 da-da. And that doesn't feel good, and it's not natural. So we're combining that strictness of the time and the action of the tongue and just the feel of this rhythm with a flow. So something, again, that I have mentioned many times that I like to do, and this makes this more challenging in some ways, is to slur this rhythm. To slur anything, but to slur this rhythm becomes more difficult. Now, why is this helpful? Why should you do it? Because what you're actually trying to do is have a continuous connection between all the notes. Even when there's space in between the notes, there's still a line that runs through. So even though you have mile markers on the road, there's still one continuous flow of road. That's kind of what we're dealing with here. So when we slur it, that feels a little tight. So I'm going to slow it down. And when I slow it down, I'm going to keep exactly the same rhythm. Da, 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 yeah. And what I'm trying to feel is that there's a completely fluid, smooth connection between the notes. Now I'm going to make a suggestion to you when you're doing this. If you can sense that you're always leading somewhere, it will make this much, much easier. So what do I mean? Well, I'll give you one example. When I'm doing this, I'm always leading from the 16th into the dotted eighth. So I go, and that way my air naturally goes. And in this, in the markings in the book, the eighth notes are, the dotted eighths are accentuated. So that's a natural thing to do, is to use that 16th note as a pickup to the downbeat. That's what it is. Let me play it for you once again. So now I've got my agility and my smoothness. When I add the tongue back into that, I can tongue very lightly and very precisely. I don't have to be so heavy and rough with the tongue. And that way I'm starting to get a cornet style, which is what this whole book is based on. Arban, as most of you know, was a great cornetist. And of course he played the trumpets, but the trumpets were not in favor at that time. They were considered to be instruments that were primarily for loud effects in the orchestra and not suitable for playing melodies. I love the cornet, by the way, so more power to all you cornet players out there. And I do believe that it's much easier to play this kind of music on a cornet than it is on a trumpet. If you may be familiar with that yourself. If you're not, give it a try sometime, because it's a lot of fun and it makes the job of playing cornet solos easier. However, most of us grew up playing the B-flat trumpet, and playing the cornet is a different instrument. It feels different and it responds differently. So you have to spend enough time with the instrument in order to fall in love with it. And that may not be on your agenda, which is fine, but trying to play the cornet style on the trumpet is a really good exercise and an excellent thing for any of us to be practicing. It certainly helps me a lot. I need to do it in order to be a better player. Okay, now there's so much in here that we could talk about, and I want to bring up a few other things. One is, in the orchestra tradition, because you're playing in a large ensemble, and this would be the case with band also, any large ensemble, the 16th notes can get swallowed up. So many times you'll be told by your teachers or your conductors, more marcato, so you're going da-da, da-da. And so what we end up doing is kind of kicking the 16th a little bit in order to make sure that it's pronounced clearly enough, it's emphasized enough to get out into the audience. And so that becomes the opposite of cornet style. And it becomes the opposite of actual band style, traditional band style with John Philip Sousa and Carl King and all the great band leaders back in that day. It would be done exactly the way it's written in the book, in the band style, which is the way I played it. Da-da, 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 da-da. So the 16th notes would be very light, and the weight would be on the dotted note. Now, since that happens automatically, the longer note is going to be heard more prominently at a distance than that quick short note that goes by so fast, that we have been taught, many of us, to bring out the 16th. Now that's not wrong, it's actually necessary. It's how much do you do it? Can you do it? So instead of going da-da, 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 now we're going to go da-da, 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 da-da. And if you listen to it for a while, and if you play it in a certain way, it might even sound like the 16th note is on the downbeat, which it's not. But because you're emphasizing, you're making it kind of sound like a downbeat. So here's what it sounds like. hope you got that. I'm going to go on a little slower. And what is so cool about that is that works in a large ensemble. The goal is at a distance, do the notes sound even? Or do they have the right emphasis? You know, and it's hard to tell from where we're sitting how it's working out there. What I want you to know is you've got a lot of options here, and you need to practice all these things in order to be able to switch it up. Now, what's so cool about what I just did is that leads me to the next topic, which is swing. Now, the dotted eighth and 16th is what I would call a square rhythm, and the triplet is more of a circular, round rhythm. Do 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 do. Da, di da, di da, di da, di da, di da. So, see, it's different. Feels different. It looks different if you're imagining it as a movement that you can see. So if you swing, that could be more toward the triplet, not necessarily a straight triplet. I'm going to do a straight triplets for you. And when you're practicing yourself, do your own analysis. Record yourself as necessary so you can hear, well, what am I actually doing? First thing to listen for is, am I being consistent with the rhythm? Is it actually a dotted 8/16th, and is that consistent? Or is it drifting toward a triplet, drifting back toward it? You see, those are the things to listen for. So I'm going to play the triplet for you now. Now I'm going to play it tongued. How do I know that's a triplet? Let me tongue the subdivision. Now, that's a great way to practice too. And you can do it with any subdivision. So if I wanted to do that with 16ths, maybe I'm a more advanced player, I want to challenge myself a little bit. Now we're getting into some really fun stuff. I'll go ahead and do it double tongue with the 16ths this time. Now I'm getting into some fancy stuff. It requires a lot of agility and precision and coordination. So, and you heard a little sloppiness in there, so I would slow that back down again until it's like, oh yeah, I got the groove, it's fun. Now we're going to combine the elements that I just talked about with the emphasis. The emphasis could either be on the downbeat or on the pickup note, the 16th, going in. So when I'm doing it faster, now you hear that I'm double tonguing and I'm bumping the K. So I think don't do these things unless you can do them well and enjoy the quality of what you're doing and feel like it's easy. When it's not easy, back it up a little bit and enjoy what you can do until you can do it so well that you can do it really without conscious control. It's just like, oh yeah, that's what it sounds like, and it comes out the horn. This is the fun part of the process of learning how to play any instrument really, really well. Okay, so now we're going to talk about a different issue, and we'll finish up with that because I know this has been a long session today. Jazz. So now we're talking about inflection. The inflection of the bumping or the emphasis on the note. So when I emphasize the 16th or play it more toward a triplet, more in a jazz style, Now I'm having fun with it, but see, that requires a skill. If you're not good at that, then as I was showing you before, do it slowly. Do it with your voice. Do it with your breath, because that's exactly what happens when you're playing on the trumpet. And pretty soon, you're going to be feeling pretty good about yourself and be able to play these styles. And also connect it with when you hear great players. I'll give you an example and leave you with this. If you think of somebody, I think Ornette Coleman exemplified this, Clifford Brown, you know, for us trumpet players, exemplified this. When Clifford swung, he didn't swing da-do, 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 da-do. He wasn't changing the rhythm all that much. It wasn't dotted or triplety, it was more straight. But the emphasis was changing. So if I just played 8 notes, see, now I'm going do do da do da do da do. That's a swing. It's a way of swinging. So if you listen to the different great jazz players playing different music at different times, you're going to hear the whole variety of emphasis and rhythmic interpretation, you should call this. So it's, yes, practice very diligently in order to be able to play a real dotted 8/16 consistently. You're going to need to be able to do that in music. And then see what you can do with the swing. I think you're going to have a whole lot of fun with this. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Keep it playful. And when you feel like you're sounding really good, record yourself and see what's really going on and use your own judgment. And you're going to make progress really, really fast. I hope you enjoy this process as much as I do. Keep going, go practice, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.